People who were the quiet kid in class. Why? I had nothing to say. Nothing to say. Or nothing you wanted to say out loud. I've had a shit ton of stuff I scream inside my head, but have nothing to say out loud. That's not the same as having nothing to say. Extreme social anxiety. Same. I also hate it when a teacher pronounces a question to the class and asks the quiet kid to answer. You know the position they're in. If I were a teacher, I'd not call out the quiet kid. It makes them feel more of a pause when they have to speak for the first time in the class of some sort. Back in HS, I had this class where I was quiet AF, and every time the teacher would ask me first rather than ask a student that frequently responds to the questions that the teacher provides. Fucking asshole. I literally wanted to KMS because of that. I had little to no social skills. Now look at you karma whoring like the rest of us. I had little to no social skills. Still don't, but I fake it. Because I'm hella introverted and I didn't feel like entertaining the stupidity in the classroom. Sorry kid with Cookie Monster pajama pants. I don't feel like talking to you. Sorry preppy mean girl who has nothing nice to say. I don't want to talk to you either. Sorry teachers. I don't want to answer your questions because I've been made fun of before by other teachers for giving the wrong answer. Thanks to you asshole teacher. I forever have social anxiety even in my professional job and lack the ability to ask questions or answer them because I feel like I should just know even though I don't. That's why I was the quiet kid. Because people suck. So, the problem is in with everyone. Does that include you? Can you think of anything about yourself that you don't like entertaining? I have an ugly voice. I've literally never heard anyone describe their voice as ugly. Curious. If you were to describe it, what does it sound like? Afraid of being ridiculed if I gave the wrong answer. All the loud kids are arrogant. They were often irritating know-it-alls. Were they arrogant? Or were you shy? Or was it possibly that both of you were normal people who simply had different personalities? Yeah, sometimes they said the dumbest shit. I just wanted to get class over with. I was just terrible at starting conversations and no one had anything in common with me till about 10th grade. Really sucked balls. Yeah, same here. No one in my class has the same interests as me and we are basically polar opposites. It sucks. I grasped that early on in life. It's not necessary to fill every possible gap with words. I didn't like anyone. No social skill in the other people is not interesting for me. I was a quiet kid up until halfway through high school, and I've opened up a bit more since then. Looking back, there were quite a few reasons why I remain so quiet. Being an observer is actually pretty fun when you're young. Most of the kids around you are freaking out over drama that has been blown vastly out of proportion. And gossip spreads like wildfire between middle schoolers and underclassmen. There's no need to directly participate in the drama when you can gawk at the absurdity of it all from a distance. Almost like a reality show. Being quiet meant you didn't get noticed and could hover around, lingering for just a little bit longer while you eavesdrop on the latest development in X's relationship with Y. Just as you get to gawk at the drama from a distance and be entertained by it. That same distance is vital, or at least was vital to me, in focusing on schoolwork. I will admit that I was on the nerdy side, and getting involved in drama, or anything generally social, would detract from time for science, Olympiad, gymnastics, and more. I put academics first, sidelining social interaction and thus rendering me the quiet kid. Then there's the fact that I simply couldn't connect with other kids the same way that many could. I didn't play the same video games they did. I enjoyed trading card games much more than the others. And the stuff I liked to talk about simply wasn't on the same level that everybody else wanted. As a result, I learned to keep my mouth shut over my latest YT obsession or some cool math trick I found on a graphing calculator so that I wouldn't draw confused or repulsed glares. I suppose that developed into an anxiety over sharing interests. getting too passionate, and warding away someone in the process. It seems awfully analytical to abstract being a quiet kid down to, it's entertaining. I could focus on schoolwork, and we had interests that were polar opposites, but that's how it's been for me in the past. I hate people. People make me tired. The less attention, the more rest. Yes, because every single time I spoke, I would get mocked by teachers and students. Even if it was something relevant to the study, work, or just genially needed to be said. I always got picked on for no reason. I don't have a stutter or a speech impediment, and my voice sounds perfectly fine. I don't know why they always picked on me. Like I literally did nothing. So basically I barely talked. Like I took it to the max too. Someone asked me something, I pretended I was deaf or something until they left me alone. I hated my school classmates. The school I went to was very small. From grade 1 to 12, I was there the whole time. And each grade had around 15 to 20 people. I grew up with them and I hated all of them. I avoided conversation and instead talked to my internet friends. This concluded my title of The Quiet Kid. Hey, I got an into the local crack house. Wanna come? Sure. My stupid parents think my girlfriend has a terminal illness, so they'll give me loads of time and money. Quote, I stole $20 from a homeless dude. I'm in. Quote, I'll just get some money from my stupid third boyfriend. He'll give me anything if I threaten to frame him for abuse. Quote, you guys are all fucking assholes. What's your problem? Noise. I'm shy, but not in the way that I'm afraid to speak up or attract attention. I just prefer not to. I aced my oral communications class. I've given speeches to crowds. But in a regular situation, I usually don't need to speak and prefer not to. Better to remain silent and portray a fool than to speak up and remove all doubt. I had a stutter, because you can't plot murder out loud and expect to get away with it. Duh. Getting bullied made me insecure. After being interrupted, told to shut up, or flat out ignored, I opened my mouth. I decided to start keeping it closed. I don't like talking, no social skills, and I have no reason to talk. Because I didn't speak much. I was scared of being judged, so I kept zipped. Don't really like people. Can you name some reasons? I just didn't like anyone. I only talk to people if I like them or if they talk to me first, but when I'm with people I like, I'm not quiet at all. I knew nobody in the class and I was just coming back from a really bad summer trip that messed with my head and scarred me for a few months. Being an introvert and everyone I sit with being annoying. Look, I never partied in high school. When I signed up for a 7 a.m. class freshman year of college, I didn't know what I was in for in the dorms. Social anxiety, crippling anxiety, and thinking that you're gonna be made fun of for speaking. Didn't have much to say. Most of my class sucked, and I was shy. Severe social anxiety. When attempting to ask my mother for help. Was 9. Didn't know it wrong. Found out years later was having severe panic attacks. Was told to stop being dramatic and get out of her room and leave her alone. Couldn't trust talking to anyone after that. Not about anything. I'm an old soul from a young age. Fuck the social media BS. Put on some old music and get some whiskey and I'll chat with you. I didn't have any social skills. On the upside, I'm extremely observant because of it. If I'm quiet, I'm just absorbing everything that's happening around me. I'm not loud. I have no motivation to do so. And I've learned that the teacher will stop talking and let me finish my work if I stay quiet. Also, I don't want to risk asking something stupid. Simply didn't want to end up in any drama. How else could I study the blade? Not much to say. Either A, no one had anything worth talking about, but now crap disinterests me still. Or B, I had nothing to say myself. I preferred to work towards my goals without interruption. I had my friends, but the redneck jocks in my science class weren't them. So I just kept to myself. I was incredibly shy and hated attention. I liked school but really just wanted to blend into the walls. Teachers always calling on me for answers made me hate school. Because basically from elementary school all the way until I started college, I was constantly bullied, so anything I said could have been used against me. It's the reason why I have trouble opening up to people. I am not good at socializing. Everyone else was loud. I just got shouted over, so I stopped saying much. When you have a bunch of loudmouth idiots around you all the time, it's hard to get a word in edgewise. Because I'm anxious. But also no one ever tried to talk to me anyways. Once someone did in class, and I gave them a baggie of homemade cookies for Christmas and a note thanking them for actually talking to me and treating me like a human. Extreme social anxiety, and I never had anything good to say. I just never had much to contribute in the grand scheme of things. Because there's nothing to be loud about. Every kid who decides to stand up on their desk ranting about some benign thing just to get a couple of laughs is just straight up making a fool of themselves. I always think to my idol, Dwight Schrute, in these times. Whenever I'm about to do something, I think, would an idiot do that? And if they would, I do not do that thing. Too depressed to bother participate. I have really bad depression. No one wanted to be my friend, which made me slip into more of a depression and repeat, and I am introverted, so yeah. Severe social anxiety. I had little to no social skills. It was to the point that I had to take a class on how to make friends and maintain friendships. Also, I had nothing important to say, and no one who cared enough to actually listen and not bully me. I had multiple times I said something to the wrong person and they would bully me for weeks on end. I don't have any friends from high school. All the good friends I made were from college. I'd rather pretend that have potential than actually trying and failing. I moved to a different state twice while in elementary school. First one, had loads of friends, people I'd grown up with, talked all the time, got in trouble for it a lot. Second one, I was only there a couple years. I still engaged. I still talked with a few friends I'd made. Third one, I'd learned my lesson. Shut up. Don't make friends. They won't last. I ended up staying in the third place, and did make some really good friends. But to answer the question, why was I the quiet kid? It was because I'd lost any reason to speak up. Didn't really know anyone. Really insecure and figured not worth the awkward conversations. At least I thought they'd be awkward. I felt like anything I could have said was already realized by most other people. Verbalizing it just seemed like seeking attention. If I had something novel to say, I spoke up. I just didn't like anyone in my class. No social skills, and I'm also apparently incredibly edgy. I'm introverted, and people interrupt me, or plainly attribute my comments to someone else. So, why bother talking? I'm just weird. I don't like people. Now, I can tolerate their stupidity more than before. I had a fear I would get a question wrong or say something embarrassing, and I thought it would ruin my life. 2 words, social anxiety. Because my anxiety too high, even seeing their eyes makes me dumb. I was quiet because I was more intelligent than others, they just didn't appeal to me. When I spoke up, I was made fun of by the student's teacher. Too depressed to talk. It was all-consuming. It's harder to say something stupid when you don't say anything at all. Because when I did say something, it seemed a lot more funny. Depended on what class and what students were in class. Because, well, me personally, I didn't talk to everyone in every class. So yeah, it varied from class to class how much I talked. I was shy and terrified of being judged. My teachers all praised me for being the quiet kid, so I never really grew out of it. Why are loud people loud? Sometimes that's just the way a person is. This question gave me flashbacks to when the annoying kid would be all like, "Hey, why don't you speak?" I had once just moved to a new state in the 8th grade. It was weird all around, and I didn't really like anybody at my school. I was very quiet, which is not like me at all. At the end of the year, last few weeks, I started getting more comfortable and being extremely extroverted. On the last day of school, a kid from my class came up to me and told me he thought I was mute the whole year until I wouldn't shut up those last few weeks. 1. No social skills. 2. Very few common interests. 3. My book was far more interesting. 4. My train of thought was also more interesting. I didn't like anyone, because most others were incredibly annoying and had very little interesting to say. Not much has changed, but I'm quite talkative around friends and others that I respect, because any time I spoke or tried to be myself, I would get made fun of. So I learned to keep to myself and I survived high school that way. No social skills and anxiety makes it difficult to say whatever's on our mind without overthinking it. I always thought the loud kids were a waste of time because the teachers had to stop and tell them to settle their shit. We were there to learn, but they didn't seem to get the point. It used to annoy me when the teacher had to stop talking and remind some kid to shut the fuck up and behave. Outside of class, my classmates all talked about stuff I didn't care about, like celebrities and sports. We had nothing in common, so I didn't speak to them then either. I was bullied a lot in middle school, which destroyed my confidence. I was traumatized and as a result, I barely talked to anyone in high school. Luckily, the college I went to was a perfect fit for me and I found my people. I totally rediscovered myself and made some great friends, which was wonderful. I miss college. I spent every single year of my high school speaking maybe 15 words a day. 50 at the most. People hated me because I was fat, more intelligent, smartest person in each class, and stronger than most guys in my grade, who worked out every day. When I did speak, people would pick on me for talking at all. They'd make fun of me, ask me why I didn't throw fits like all the other sped students, and spit on me when I ate lunch in the commons. I eventually punched the guy who bullied all the other sped students in the face when I caught him trying to pour chocolate milk on a student with Down syndrome. I never spoke the whole rest of the year after that, and he made sure to avoid me. Always lost in thought. I was a few pounds overweight and kids were so mean. Even the teachers knew that I was called a cow. The worst part was most of the kids who teased me weighed more than me. I just looked fat in the uniform. All I wanted was to stay with my small group of friends. I did not care about talking so much in class. One just wanted to do the work and go home. I had a lot of mental health issues. I went to a new school for middle school and got attached to my friends. Then I went to a different high school than all of them, so I had to start over. High school didn't seem like it would be worth the effort, at least at first. I become the quiet kid because of two-faced people, and people who like to make fun of you as a joke, but when you try to use them as a joke they got angry, and I'm tired of their drama. It's kinda toxic having those people around. People can be unreasonable, you have to understand them, but they don't even try to understand you. And they make judgment the first thing they saw. My classmates were dickheads. I guess I didn't know how to be friends. Wasn't popular, and if I did speak up it was often ridiculed. Basically poor social skills. It eventually led to me being much louder, but an undying habit of believing everyone I meet hates me. The main reason why is everyone was annoying. To be honest, I didn't have much friends anyways, so I had zero choice. Also, everyone's brutal. One mistake, they wouldn't let it go. I was just shy and nervous. It was hard talking with people because I am just socially awkward. I'm 24 years old. I'm still the quiet kid in uni class too. I just prefer silence and observing the complex personality of each person. Also, I'm just an introvert. I used to have panic attacks when I tried talking to new people, so I didn't talk at all. It happened with the teachers as well. I was actually very talkative around people the same age or younger than me. But when I got around upperclassmen, I just shrank into nothing. I was so paranoid that they all secretly thought I was weird that I just didn't talk. I was bullied in middle school for being a generally goofy, clumsy mess of a human being. And I could only ever see the grade above me as being those girls again. I would rather be unnoticed than noticed in a bad way. I don't like being forced to meet new people, which often means I'm acquaintances at best, plus I don't really have much to say, so it's a double win. Don't have to meet new people. Don't have to say anything. I have opinions a lot of people in my area don't like. I've always been quiet and observant. I speak when I have something to say, not because I need anyone's approval or attention. I wasn't shy or socially awkward, so I was called stuck up because I didn't talk to people and was indifferent to their dramas. In reality, I was already dealing with real-world problems. Both my dad and my grandma died from cancer within a few months of each other. So first it was dealing with their illnesses and treatments, then being severely depressed after they passed, all the while trying to maintain good grades and keep my emotions in check, to the point that I was so stressed I would make myself physically sick. Then having to hide that too. I had terrible anxiety, so I kept to myself because I knew I said anything I probably would regret it. Sometimes things are best left unsaid. No mistake, no mistake. I don't have a good filter. I can be kind, but my family nickname is Random Access Memory for good reason. Everyone in my class was a dick and I'd rather not associate with them. I was in my head a lot, introverted, yes, but also busy daydreaming and wishing I was allowed to keep my nose in a book all day and or write without drawing attention to it. I've always been shy about showing stories to people I know. Didn't care about drama unless it was one act. Didn't care about sports or 4-H. I understood the homework, so I didn't have any questions and so on. TL. Doctor. I had no reason to speak up, so half my class probably thought I was mute. No, I'm not exaggerating. I didn't have anything to say. It is also quite funny to spectate the idiotic behavior of the flirtatious jocks trying to impress literally every girl. I have little to no social skills, and I'm extremely introverted. Zipping my lips allowed me to excel in my classes. My main reason was to not look like an idiot, and because I don't know what to say. I've never thought I sound or look good, and only do well without social interactions. I really hated the kids in that class. Anxiety. Before I was even old enough for school, I had a babysitter who babysat a bunch of kids all at once in her home. Pretty much all of the other kids bullied me, so I grew up with extremely low self-esteem and was too shy to talk to kids at school. This led to me not developing my social skills at the same rate as my peers, which got me bullied at school, too. It was just safer not to talk. I still overanalyze everything I say and pick it apart, thinking of all the things someone could find wrong with it. I'm really paranoid, have trust issues, and anxiety. I'm quiet because people usually associate the quiet kid to most likely be a killer in school. This way, bullies will leave me alone and leave my true friends, the only three I have, alone as well. This also helps me differentiate between people who immediately judge someone without a second thought and those who are willing to discover that the quiet kid is actually a very loyal friend. 'Cause no one liked me and I didn't like them. So fuck them, dude. I had nothing to say to them. I was the quiet kid my entire school experience, but also the loud kid. Thanks ADHD. I grew up in a small town, and in my classes almost everyone's parents were together. In elementary school, I was one of maybe 5 other kids tops who was the daughter of a teen mom. Mom didn't have time for PTA or coming to school ceremonies. All the other moms did. All the other moms judged mine for being so young, not being able to come to school events, WTC. So, this inevitably made being friends with me taboo. This made me into the quiet kid. Fast forward to high school. I was extremely depressed and had been for years with little to no treatment. I was also in the honors classes. My fellow honors classmates were those same kids from grade school. Parents together. Healthy family income. Extremely popular. Out of 125 honors students in my grade, I was one of 12 that was a free lunch kid. My county had a program where poor kids would get free meals at school. So, a poor, depressed kid who everyone knew but no one was friends with kind of makes you turn quiet. To be fair, I had plenty of other friends, but they all matched my socioeconomic background, so only one of them was honors with me. End note. My hometown has an almost non-existent middle class. If you were poor, you weren't an honors kid and didn't get the privileges along with them. It was fucking bullshit. My hometown and the schools there are all classist as fuck. I was only quiet through my second and third schools. The first one, every single teacher and almost every student was against me. Decided for second and third school that I was gonna go into my stage of sheer depression and hair down to my ankles. Still couldn't grow facial hair. Stoned, honey, kinda to cover for my friends, because why would this seemingly model student ever do anything bad? But that was more of a side effect of me just being immensely paranoid that I would get in trouble. So I just didn't speak that much, because the one who just sits and listens is the most dangerous person in the room. I just wanna listen to music, headphones and of course, and do my work. Still am. I'm quiet, because then I get my work done, and I can laugh at other people struggling to get theirs done in time, 'cause they were goofing off. I was once offered money for a worksheet's answers, so being like this has its perks. Also no, I don't want to reenact pumped up kicks. Undiagnosed autistic. You can imagine what my social skills were like. Asperger's was a relatively new diagnosis and I was a girl, so I flew under the radar until I was 18. Just coming across as the weird and socially awkward smart kid who didn't know when to not show off. Also, I've always been a fatty and was a generally easy target for bullying. So I just tended to spend all my non-class time in the library, hiding from everyone. Got on great with most of my teachers when other kids weren't around. But yeah, not so crash hot with peer groups. Feel more myself in smaller groups of people. Introvert. Don't like being the center of attention and used to have low self-esteem. Oh, and anxiety. Nobody were with me, so I kept quiet, and so I do now. I can finally escape this 8-year-old hell, but I escaped earlier because Corona. I can describe more if you ask. I'm a social vegetarian. I avoid meat. Nothing to say. Now in class nobody talks, so I have a long conversation with the teachers sometimes. I try to keep them friends so I can fuck around more. I kept business to myself and didn't want to get involved with others, especially the popular kids. People laugh at me for no reason. Since I transferred schools, I was the new kid in the block. Very socially awkward. I still am, to be honest, but I've learned to fake confidence. Fake it till you make it does really work. First time socializing, I got the shit beaten out of me. Every time I talked, people told me to shut up. It was just easier to not talk in the first place. Anxiety. I was painfully shy as well. Most of my teachers growing up forgot about me in class because she's so quiet. Sometimes I don't realize she's here. Quote, it made me invisible in school for years and I liked it. I like being by myself. Social anxiety and major depression issues. Just assumed no one wanted anything to do with me. Not like anyone else had. I was a shy kid growing up and had social anxiety, so I was afraid of speaking. I also was scared that I would be laughed at or judged if I said something stupid. But I didn't like most of my classmates either, so yay. There's more to it for being the quiet kid though. I was quite cautious with who I befriended as I had experienced betrayal before. I hated those stubby fat asses. It was either I had nothing to say or I didn't want to be there and was daydreaming about where I actually wanted to be, or I was listening to music. Boredom. Wanted everyone to think something bad was gonna happen in school. Americans will understand more, rather than them thinking I am an awkward, you get me, big man. I was busy thinking of getting my balls sucked. No, seriously, I was horny AF all the time in class. I find others annoying to deal with. For the most part, as some either don't listen to me or even tend to ignore me, so it was easier to be quiet and work alone than to deal with others. I was shy and just hate talking to those I don't know. Humans are troublesome creatures. I didn't really like much people from my class too. I don't know how to talk to people I don't know. I don't want to be judged about something I say. I don't want to embarrass myself for being wrong academically. Again, I don't like my voice. I'm honestly not that interesting of a person, and I repress my opinions because of the idea they don't matter to others has been programmed into me. Therefore I have almost nothing to say anyway. Also because most people in my classes sucked feet and didn't deserve my attention. I was bullied and shit happened at home. I was too scared to talk to people because I didn't want to give them a reason to make fun of me. Seconded, I am a man of few words, and I just didn't f***ing like anybody. The teacher told me to shut up. I overthink quite often. Very unnecessary overthinking enforced my own insecurity with how I interacted with others. I don't want to bother or disturb those around me. I am too caught up in worrying that it'll overwhelm people with being too much out there and too expressive. I realize now that if I want to make genuine connections with people, I need to make the effort in contributing in social circumstances and not being a little wallflower. I was quiet because when I tried to talk, they all ignored me. Eventually I just decided I didn't want to waste my breath anymore. I literally used to shut down conversation, so nobody bothered, and I was happy that no one troubled me. Introvert plus social anxiety plus no social skills plus awkward kid. The combo just made me want to be alone the whole time. Me not being good at sports also made it worse. Even teachers were weirded out by me, I guess. Never liked conversations and I mumbled when I talked. I prefer listening. Thankfully I'm not the same as before. Still introvert but less awkward now. Social anxiety still there but manageable. Had a kid come up to me from the class across the hall and tell me that he and the other boys were calling me things behind my back. I didn't talk a whole lot before this because I wanted to read and talk about books, but it seemed like no one else did. After hearing that, I retreated further into myself and my books and developed a really irrational paranoia that has led to me hating white noise, especially in a classroom. No social skills and don't like any attention. I wasn't the most quietest, but because I was depressed, I am really quiet and hate talking. Once, my teacher called me out in front of the class and made me do a stand-up comedy routine. I haven't recovered. They laughed at me because I liked Sonic and Minecraft. Was pretty short at that time. Now I am normal, I think, and I had a strange, for them, haircut. Actually, it was a normal haircut, with forehead closed by hair. If they were friendly to me, I wouldn't be so shy even now. I used to hold in everything, so I had to try not to let anything I think out. So I just tried to not talk. Now I'm better, but I'm an introvert, so that's another reason. I don't hold many things in anymore unless they don't need to be said or are hurtful. I also used to hate everybody, so I didn't want anything to do with them. I have multiple mental issues and have done since I was a child. One of the worst is my social anxiety, and I hadn't even spoken to most of the school at all. I had no consistent friendship group and sort of drifted between friends. Everyone always left me out and were really distant with me, and I always thought it was because I'm different, but I never really asked. The main reason my anxiety got worse in secondary school, I'm English, is because I'm transgender and wasn't now to most people. A few teachers were transphobic but only ever refused to call me the right name and pronouns. I always felt so different from everyone else and distanced myself from everyone I knew. When my mental health started getting really bad, I would self-harm to an extent where it was almost impossible to hide, and I would get extremely paranoid that people knew. One time a classmate noticed and asked if I'm okay after class, and I just thought he didn't actually care and he wanted to seem like a good guy. I was badly bullied because of my sexuality and for being transgender when people found out in year 8, and I was beaten up, harassed, got slurs shouted at me constantly, and most people hated me. I had one proper friend from my year and a couple from the year below me, and I feel bad because I was always really hyper and happy, or really sad and depressed and paranoid. I have bipolar. I had almost finished year 11 when coronavirus shut the schools, and I'm more stressed out about the video calls that are going to take place than coronavirus itself. I'm still suicidal and have many mental issues, and I am still bullied online by the same people and some more, but I'm glad I have a few close friends I can trust. I know it'll get better, and I have hope and faith that the gods have a plan for me and it will all be okay soon. Thank you for reading this, and I'm sorry that it turned into a rant. I was bullied for 13 years day in day out. I'm afraid that if I say the wrong thing, I might get bullied again. I am a really nice and funny person, but only with people I know. I'm nice to everyone, by the way. I moved to another country and had no idea how to speak their language. Hate talking but love singing, deadpan face. Little confidence. Very wary of other people. To be fair to myself, I often had reason to be, as a lot of the students at my school were real shitbags. I was just talking to myself most of the time. Like, I remember in class, I would comment anything in my head. What I thought about the teacher, my classmates, the things they were talking about, random stuff, etc. And that would satisfy me more than if I was actually talking to them. Like, I could debate things by myself. I remember thinking that talking with others was limited in terms of possibilities. Some were judgmental or just had superficial speeches. And I felt like there was no boundaries with myself. Talking to people is cringe. NGL.